Hello everyone, this is Tanishka and today I'm going to be talking about the 8 money lessons that you and I can learn from our favorite TV show, Friends. So we're gonna start on a very positive note with one of my favorite characters of all times, not just on this TV show, Monica Geller. One of the best lessons that you and I can learn from Monica is the fact that she pays out all her bills as soon as they come in. Now you may have heard her friends teasing her about it that, oh Monica, I challenge you to not pay your bill as soon as it comes in.
Try to imagine this. The phone bill arrives, but you don't pay it right away.
Why not?
When you look at it from an outsider perspective, that's actually a very smart strategy, and that is something that I follow in my life too, is to pay out any bills that are coming as soon as I receive them, because it just makes it simpler, right? You don't have to take on the burden of reminding yourself to pay your bills later on, and if the due dates arrived and you've not cleared your bill by then you might have to deal with unnecessary problems that could have been avoided by simply paying your bills the moment they came your way. So that's the first lesson that I want all of us to take away from the show. The second lesson that I think we can all learn from the show is being honest with our friends about our financial situations. So in the earlier seasons, we see that Joey, Rachel and Phoebe feel like Monica, Ross and Chandler are always going out to dine to these fancy places, and they are also expected to pitch in with the bill even if they're not ordering the same things or even if they're not ordering as much as the others. And they weren't really comfortable with the fact that their friends always went to these super expensive places, but they were always too uncomfortable to confront their friends about the fact until in the one episode that they actually go ahead and they talk to their friends about the fact that they cannot afford to eat out at these fancy places so often.
Do you guys ever get the feeling that Chandler and those guys just don't get that we don't make as much money as they do?
Yes, yeah.
Really?
And just like in the episode where Chandler, Ross and Monica are very sporty about it, they're like, yes, of course, they are our friends, and if they cannot afford it, we can always hang out at different places. We don't have to do all of these fancy things. Your friends, if they are your real friends, will also understand. So in case you're in an uncomfortable situation or in a financial bind where you temporarily do not want to go ahead and dine out in all of these fancy places, and not just dining but any other experience, especially with the concert trends and the festival trends that are going viral in our country right now. So if you feel like you're not really in a place where you want to spend that money, not just you don't have that money, but even if you choose not to spend your money on certain experiences because that's just not how you want to spend your money, it's completely okay to communicate that to your friends. And like I said, if they are your actual friends, they'll be super cool about the fact, and you can always find low cost activities to do together, because trust me, with your friends you don't really need to spend any money at all in order to have fun. My friends and I, we could just be sitting in a car, a parked car by the way, and listening to music, and that would be a very fun time for us together. So you don't necessarily always have to spend money in order to have fun, and be open with your friends about it. The third lesson is a classic case of lifestyle inflation, where Joey moves out of his apartment with Chandler and into a bigger place simply because he can afford to do so.
I'm 28 years old, I've never lived alone, and I'm finally at a place where I got enough money that I don't need a roommate anymore.
Now, if you've watched all the seasons of the show, you know that Joey had absolutely no problems living with Chandler. He was having fun. They were all so close by together, all the friends, and they were hanging out. There was no real problem that Joey was facing living in that apartment. But the only reason he chose to move out was because he could afford to do so, and he wanted to experience living on his own. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the fact that, if you want to experience living on your own, go ahead and do so. But I would also then recommend you to do so within your means. As we know, Joey went out and he rented a very lavish apartment and bought in all of this furniture on credit card debt, by the way, which is a whole other video on its own. But yeah, he went ahead and he made all of these expensive purchases simply because he could afford to do so in the moment. And that, like I said, is a classic case of lifestyle inflation. Just because you're earning more now than you were earning previously doesn't necessarily mean that you need to increase your expenses as well. Of course, go ahead, treat yourself to better things. I'm not saying that you want to put all of your money into savings, because that's not a practical way to live life, not in my opinion at least. You should be splurging on yourself. You should be buying things that make you happy. I'm not saying that just live a very minimal life and then put everything else into savings. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is that you don't necessarily need to splurge on things that you don't even need, like Joey did. So if you've come into a lot of money, if you've gotten a raise at work, if you've gotten an unexpected bonus out of nowhere, or if you're self-employed and you've gotten a new client that brings in a lot of money, just take a moment to recenter and analyze, do you really want to increase your expenses, or is there a better place that your money could be going to? The fourth lesson comes from one of the most quirky characters on television history, Phoebe Buffay. Now, as we all know that throughout the series, we were shown that Phoebe has a very strong set of idols where, she was like against a lot of things. She was a vegetarian and, she had a lot of these ethical values that made her a very distinct character from what we've seen on TV before. But in one of the episodes, we see that Phoebe is working for a private corporation, a massage place, and where Rachel goes to get a massage, and she finds out that Phoebe's been working in a place that she's been advocating against in all the years that Rachel has known Phoebe. And we understand that Phoebe is really against these gigantic corporate places, and while I completely respect her morals, I completely respect her ethical values, everyone can have a different set of belief systems, I do not think that you and I should be holding back on an opportunity that is completely ethical. By the way, like, there was nothing wrong with the place she was working at per se, she simply didn't believe in big corporations, right? But the fact of the matter is that when Phoebe needed the money, when her freelance massage practice was not going well, she did end up working at one of those corporations, right?
Phoebe, why did you lie to me about working here?
Because I was ashamed, okay? I sold out for the cash. And they give me benefits like medical and dental and a 401k.
So the message here is that sometimes you might not get your ideal job, right? Sometimes things not may exactly work out in your favor. But if you need to do something in order to keep the wheel moving, as long as it's not illegal, please go ahead and do it. Please don't let your pride keep you poor, is what I'm trying to say. Is that, okay, you might not find the ideal opportunity right away, but is it an opportunity? Is it legal? Is it paying you well? Then go ahead and do it. Get the experience under your belt. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to have everything sorted out right away. Not every job has to be a permanent job. And it's completely okay to experiment and try out new things while you're searching for the perfect gig. Just don't let anything hold you back simply because it's not the ideal gig for you. The next lesson comes from my absolute favorite character on the show. You guessed it, Chandler Bing. So now, when Monica and Chandler were getting married and Monica found out that her parents had already used all of her wedding funds because, well, they weren't expecting her to get married. So, they were out of money, and Monica and Chandler were in a situation where they did not have any parental support coming in for funding their wedding. And it's then that it's revealed to us that Chandler has managed to build up a very generous savings corpus, and they can go ahead and they can fund the wedding from that corpus. Now, whether you agree with the fact that they went ahead and spent all of this money on the wedding or whether they should have done something low-key is completely your personal opinion. That's not what I'm commenting on. But the lesson here is that you need to save. We know that from the beginning of the show, Chandler was earning well and he did not make any frivolous decisions. He was living within his means and he managed to build up his savings to a point where he could fund the ideal wedding that his fiance wanted, right? So for anyone who has started earning, I would recommend you to start saving and investing. It doesn't matter if you're investing as low as 500 rupees a month. Please just get into the habit of investing. It's going to be really beneficial for you long term. The next lesson is from Monica again, and it's something that you should not be doing, is that you should not be picking your investments willy-nilly without a rhyme or a reason. So do you remember the episode where Monica goes ahead and she starts investing in stock market, and the reason she got into that whole thing was because she saw a stock and the initials of the stock were same as her initials, MEG, and she went ahead and she started investing simply because she thought that was cool.
I went up.
What?
My stock, MEG, it went up 2 points. Oh my gosh, do you realize that if I had invested my $127 in myself yesterday, that I'd have a lot more than that today?
Now, while that's completely okay in the fictional world, I would recommend you be a little more diligent about your investments in the real world, because you might end up losing big time if you just go ahead and you purchase stocks, mutual funds, or any other investment asset for that matter, simply because there's a random cute weird knick-knack with the name or something like that. And of course, I realize the fact that in real life people do not do that. We do not go ahead picking stocks simply because our initials match them or whatever. But what we do is we go ahead and we pick random investment advice from Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. If one of our friends is saying that, hey, I'm going to be investing in this stock, we go ahead and we tend to get influenced by these people, by the content that we're consuming. So I would advise you that even if you're getting influenced into investing into something, investing is good, but go ahead and spend some time researching the asset before you invest your money in it. The next lesson brings us back to Joey and onto the importance of health insurance. Do you remember the episode where Joey was suffering from a painful hernia and he could not get it treated because he did not have health insurance, and he was waiting for sign up for a gig before he could go ahead and get it treated because he did not have any medical coverage until he had a job?
Will you go to the hospital?
Dude, hernia operations cost like
A lot, probably. Okay, besides, as soon as my insurance kicks in, I can get all the free operations I want. Okay, I think I'll probably start with that laser eye surgery thing.
Now, even in India, you do get health insurance benefits with a lot of corporate jobs, which is great. It's great to have that cover. But please do not rely solely on your corporate health insurance for your health, because I promise you that is not the smartest way to go about it. Get your own health insurance. Depending on your age, your pre-existing medical conditions, and your cover amount, it can be an investment. I realize that we pay a hefty amount for medical insurance every single year, but it is important. It is not something that you can skimp out on. It is not something that you can cut back on. Cut back on something else if you need to, but not on this, not on your health insurance. Please, please, please get an adequate health insurance cover for you, for your family. Be smart about it. There are so many tools, so many resources available that can guide you towards the best health insurance for you and your family. So please go get that cover if you don't have that already. Do not rely solely on your corporate health insurance. And of course, I had to close the video with Monica again and the lesson that you should not be afraid of asking people for the money that you owe them. So when Phoebe and Monica had started this catering business together, they had catered for a funeral and everyone loved the food, everything was great. But when Monica was trying to get the bill paid, the widow who had organized the funeral was very ignorant about the fact that she had to clear her dues.
Well, there's just the small matter of the,
Dear?
just the matter of payment.
Jack used to handle the finances.
And Monica in this case wasn't exactly super confident in going up to the widow and asking her to clear the bill so that she could leave. And ultimately Phoebe had to step in rather aggressively and ask the widow to clear the bill because they had provided her a service, right? So if you've provided someone with a service, you've done some work for someone, or even if it's simply your friends, family, someone in your circle who owes you money, please don't be afraid to ask for your money back. It's okay. It's not tacky. Humans are humans. Everyone needs money. And this is something that I'm learning myself also. I am not going to say that I'm super perfect about it. I do get super awkward asking people for the money that they owe me. But it's a practice that I'm trying to get better at, and I would recommend you to do the same. If someone owes you money, please go ahead and ask for your money. This shouldn't make you uncomfortable. It's your money. You've done something. You've worked for it. You've given someone that money. You need to get it back. Please be confident about it. Otherwise, you'll end up losing on a lot of money over the course of your life. And with that, we come towards the end of today's video. But before you go, I'd love to know if there are any other financial lessons that you picked up from the characters of the show. I know I didn't really cover any lessons from Rachel or Ross, and I feel like that's an untapped category for me, especially with Rachel and the drastic financial transition that she has over the course of the show. So I feel like we can do a whole other video about her. But yes, if there's any other lessons that I missed out, please comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.